Hey nerds, welcome to episode 96. Coming up on the big show, Darren and I celebrate our second anniversary of the podcast. We get our first good look at Margot Robbie as Barbie as she's ready to hit the big screen later this summer. Miles Morales is back slinging some webs in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Some big news from Hogwarts, which should make all you Potter heads happy. Finally, Star Wars Celebration was this past weekend, and it dropped a galaxy's worth of news on us with a small side of Indiana Jones. Ready? Hit it!
Hey nerds, welcome back to the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm Darren Semple. Flying with me today is my co-pilot for the last 2 years, Erik Heir.
I'm your Huckleberry. That's just my game.
So good. So good. You can find us on all of our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all at the Nerd Rundown. Over here on YouTube. If you'd be so kind, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell for the notification when we upload a new episode. And that way you never, ever miss any of our shows, which are just amazing. And we'll get more into that here in a little bit as I gave a little bit of a teaser there of what's coming. But if you also just want to just listen to us, I get it too. You can find us on all the major podcast services. Combat the Chaos is our new sponsor, so let's hear a word about them right now. It's no secret here at the Nerd Rundown that we support our veterans and our first responders. We ask that you do the same thing through our sponsor, Combat the Chaos. They're a veteran-owned clothing company that donates part of their proceeds to other amazing organizations supporting these warriors and guardians. If you're a veteran, you're at a 57% higher risk of suicide than those who have not served. As a veteran myself, this cause hits very close to home. This shirt and hat are some of the items available if you follow our link in the description down below to combatthechaos.com. Use the discount code NRD for 15% off and help us fight this battle that veterans and first responders so desperately need. Now, back to the rundown. Erik, I want to wish you a happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
2 years ago this past weekend, actually, it may have been yesterday. No, it was 2 days.
The 11th? Wasn't it 11th?
Was it? I have it posted on Facebook Memories today that it was when we announced it, and it was pictures of our first show.
Yeah,
so
that's possibly true. Possibly true.
I think it was.
Go back and look at the old.
I don't remember I think we recorded on a Sunday, which would have been April 10th last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's it. So I think today, as we record this episode, which is episode 96 of the Nerd Rundown podcast, it's our 2-year anniversary today.
April 10th. So I have it right here. Our episode 1, the premiere, was on April 10th, 2021. Episode 1, the premiere. It was a 1 hour and 29-minute show, which we were panicked about because this can't happen. We cannot go 90 minutes on a podcast. Nobody's going to listen to this thing. Well, 225 of you decided to listen to it, at least on the download on the Spotify podcast side. Yeah.
Or then, on all audio ones.
Yeah. And then that doesn't include the YouTube side. So
yeah, it's so funny how many times we hear people saying, we started with their first episode. I'm like,
yeah.
It's not a
Please
serial.
don't.
It's not a serial.
Right?
Yeah.
Please don't. We've come a long way. I actually should go back and listen to that show. I wonder what that sounds like.
I did it. I feel like I did it this time last year on our 1-year anniversary, and I was like, whoa, I know this. I know we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, we need to thank all the nerds out there that listen to us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, holy cow, the list is so long. But you all nerds out there have really kept this thing going. We weren't sure how long we were going to do it, and here we are 2 years later, going strong with new shows coming. There's a
I mean, we're going old school. We'll go all the way back to Jen Tiedemann and
and the Hobbit talk
and the Hobbit stuff. We'll go back to Cousin Andy.
Yeah,
We haven't heard from Cousin Andy in a long time.
That's true.
Uncle Frank stuff.
I do miss me some Uncle Frank. He has good questions.
He does. We had this guy that would come on the show. He would ask these questions all the time. He would ask all these questions, this and that and the other. It's like, you know what? Let's just bring him on. Let's just bring him on, and then wouldn't you know it, the all-star on the team, Morgan Santo, Big Morg,
by far the funniest.
Just been, oh my gosh, just been dynamite. Lady of the show, Meg. We can't say enough about Jason Sparks and the music that he's produced for us, as well as being just a all-round amazing dude, and a wealth of nerd knowledge as well. So,
and different kind of nerd knowledge, like that's
for sure.
I think that's been kind of a special thing about everybody that's come to the panel is, and we're not all just a unimind here.
Yeah.
So it's great.
We've got fellow Star Trek guys and your next door neighbor, Bryant.
Big shout out to Bryant.
We love Captain Dunsel. We love him. He's been just so helpful to the show, just with his encouragement and with his, the words and stuff like that he's passed along to us in the comments and stuff. It's very encouraging. Sometimes you wonder if anybody's kind of listening or whether or not they're really paying attention. And when you get stuff like some of the stuff that he said in the past, it's been helpful. Yeah, my dad listens to every show.
My dad too. Yeah,
it's terrific.
Number one fan of the show, Denise Stemple.
Yeah, number one fan. She still holds the title. So
gotta think Banana,
and of course my wife Stacy. That they've indulged us for the last 2 years on this.
They have put up with
cockamamie thing. I can't remember which episode was it? I want to say it was like our 3rd or 4th episode, and I don't know if we talked about this before, but
the re-record.
The re-record.
It was episode 4.
Was it episode 4?
A New Hope for podcasts. Episode 4, A New Hope for podcasts.
Disaster. Like I was still learning to do the board stuff and everything, and I forgot to turn my microphone on, and so I could hear, or I forgot to turn your microphone on, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
So you could hear me clear as day, and you could hear Darren shouting. Like he was in another room.
Hey, nerds.
and at the time we were doing this down in Golden at your dad and Anna's office, and so it was like an hour 10-minute drive for me to get down there, and I think for you it was about a half hour 40-minute drive to get up there, and I got all the way home. I listened to it and I'm like, oh my god, this is a disaster, I think we recorded on a Saturday.
Leave the parking lot because we always like to listen to it when we got in
the car. That's right. I did a sample.
Yeah.
I did a sample. Yep. Yeah. And I was like, I can't hear you. I was like,
what?
Yeah. It was terrible. So we had to re-record the entire show.
And actually, when we got done with it, it felt so much better. Like the show,
we felt it was a better show.
The show was better, and it was a good learning lesson for us to have a little bit of a checklist to make sure things get done right. And it was like a blessing in disguise. I'm sorry that had to come back down that far again the next day, because we recorded Saturday morning. We came back Sunday night.
Yep.
But
and then we did the one from my theater. Remember we did an episode from On Location. We did a couple in my basement.
Yeah, what's funny is I couldn't remember when we started doing it in your basement.
Yeah.
In your storage room.
Yeah.
And that felt like podcasting in that.
It really did. Actually, that really did feel like podcasting, because we were just kind of huddled around this table, and that was really fun.
Yeah. So happy anniversary, my man.
Yeah, you too, bud.
Happy anniversary to all the nerds out there. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for
Bill, Brett, I want to make
Yes,
sure we
and
shout
let's
out to
finish
everybody.
that. Bill Poor, who he's really helped us out with how we can visually
Yeah.
present
He's helped a lot of
ourselves.
the Yep.
So
With some tools.
gosh, I text him every once in a while just asking a dumb question, and he gives me an answer every time without fail. So thank you, Bill.
Terrific.
And of course.
And one of our most popular episodes still, at least on YouTube, is their Maker episode that him and Brett came on and talked about 3D printing and stuff. So one of our highest watched
It's still
episodes.
one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
It's still an episode I want to get a sequel to.
Well, I think it's something we've talked about. You and I have talked about maybe bridging. And this is something, if you guys are interested in the comments, let us know if it's something that you want to see. We've toyed with the idea of starting a separate show that's an interview show where we just talk and interview people about their nerddom.
Yeah.
So
if you're kind of nerd they are.
Yeah. Are you a guy who likes to turn wrenches? Do you do you nerd out about compression ratios on motors and all that stuff?
Important stuff.
Yeah. Or, are you a nerd about
Are you Star Trek nerd?
Math or whatever? Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like everybody's a nerd in their own way. So,
could be any kind of nerd out there. And we want to embrace our main theme of everybody's a nerd in their own way. And
there are some people out there that are in denial. We've talked about these in denial nerds. A lot of them are sports guys. It's like, hey man, if you know who played shortstop for the Orioles in 1977,
you might be.
You're a nerd, okay? You're a sports nerd. So I hate to break it to you, but
here's your sign.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have boxes and boxes of baseball cards in sleeves?
Exactly. I mean, holy cow, that's the biggest kind of nerd sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah, let us know if that's something you want, because we want to get into that. We just want to embrace that. Everybody's a nerd in their own way. Of course, there's probably some parameters that we'll need to set, but would love to get into that. And let's get into the rundown, because we've got a special show for you all today here on our 2-year anniversary, where we're embracing some of the old ways of the Nerd Rundown, where we would have the rundown and then we'd have a theme, themed episode. We did like a Nerd Hard episode for Die Hard, and we're gonna do that here today in a special edition way, with a little nod to the Star Wars trilogy, the special edition of the 90s. That's what got me into Star Wars. They had Star Wars Celebration over the weekend. An insane amount of content came out, so we're going to cover that in a special edition. The Nerd Rundown presents Star Wars Celebration, but we're going to also do a full rundown before we get to that. So
it's a hybrid show.
It's a hybrid show. That's such a perfect word for this. So let's get started with a little bit of a follow-up from last week's trailer madness, trailer mania.
Trailer Palooza.
We covered Extraction 2, Blue Beetle, Secret Invasion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and then there was a big trailer train as well.
Yeah.
And we knew there was more trailers to come.
Yep.
I had totally forgotten Star Wars was coming. And they brought some trailers on their own, so... Yeah, we knew the Barbie teaser and the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer was releasing. I'll start with you, Erik, on Barbie. It's the they labeled it teaser trailer too. You usually get 2 teasers. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I loved it. I could not wait. I could not wait to show it to my wife first,
me
and
too.
then the kids. Like, I was like, okay, well, the kids are, especially Amelia, I knew she was going to go nuts for it,
Yeah.
Jack, there really wasn't any, he didn't really care, but Amelia loved it. And Stacy loved it, and I laughed my butt off. I thought it was glorious. Like, there are so many glorious, and I'm not even a Barbie dude. Like, I never played with Barbies, but the whole, when she takes her shoes off and the feet are, like angled at that.
They stay the same way.
They stay that same way, and I love that everybody's named Barbie and everybody's named Ken, and
and they all have
the
rival skin.
Yeah, the rivals. I Ryan Gosling looks terrific as traditional Ken guy.
My gosh.
I guess he just looks like he's
and
out of the
dumb
box.
as a doornail.
Absolutely. Did you bring your rollerblades?
I
never go anywhere without them.
I literally never go anywhere without them.
Yeah, right.
So, do you think it's going to be like Lego movie style where she goes into the real world? What do you think?
I think that's probably where they're leading to. At least that's the way the trailer kind of implied that's the direction that they were headed into, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that. You know, I really don't. I thought the Lego movie was great. I thought the way they played that off was really, really it was a glorious movie. Like the Lego movie was a glorious movie. So I don't have a problem. It really is. I don't have any problem with their bringing her into the world, but the world that they built for her. Gosh. The colors, the palette, staying fairly true, at least as far as I could see, fairly true to like all the accessories and toys that she had.
Yeah.
To work
everything
with.
You see in Barbie Land is a Barbie thing.
Yeah.
That's been made, which is, I mean, she's driving the pink Corvette at the end.
The pink Corvette, yeah.
And a seashell necklace. Man, it was crazy.
And I always butcher his name, but Simu Liu. Yeah, that's the last name. He is he's so funny. Good in this. He's so good in him. The whole scene, and then Michael Cera is it? Michael Cera's in it too, and he has no lines. He's got no lines. I don't think at all. He just has this face, and you're like, that is. It's just terrific, and the whole ending
is it gay, Ken? Do you think?
I have no idea, but the whole look of his face, and then the whole sequence that's happening about the beach off. Like I'll
beat you both off right now.
I'll beat you. It's so great.
I wonder how many times.
Oh, I said the exact same thing to Stacy as soon as the trailer was over. I'm I wonder how many times they had to go through that to get that take.
Nobody's beaching anybody.
Yeah, right. If you're gonna beach him off, you've got to go through me first.
You gotta beach me
Fine,
off.
I'll beat you both. You have to beach me off first. Yeah. I'll beat you both off at the same time.
Yeah, I mean that's why I haven't shown it to Penny, actually, because I'm a little nervous about the adult humor in it, which I'm fine with. I'm totally fine with. And I, like I said, teaser trailer too. That implies we haven't seen anything from this movie.
Yeah, I think I've already get a full trailer. Enough. Yeah, exactly. I think this falls into. I know we talked about it like last week or something like that or 2 weeks ago about Dungeons and Dragons movie, but the more I saw that movie, the more I want to see that movie, and I was already right.
Like I can't get enough.
I'm gonna go see Barbie.
Yeah,
but then the more I've seen of this, the more I'm like, yes, please, this is just great.
Yeah,
just absolutely great.
It's like just. I love when they treat things right, and it feels like they're treating it right. So
yeah, for sure. They're giving it the respect I think that it deserves, but not taking it so serious that they make a mockery of themselves or and not able to poke a little fun at the whole thing, because they know how absurd the whole thing really is, but they've put all the work into the set design, into making everything look and feel the way it's supposed to feel. But Greta Gerwig, wow,
doing well so far, very well. I will say Will Ferrell's in it, and there's I don't think he's President Business in both movies. Right. But it would be a fun tie-in. So you already have a Lego movie connection through Will Ferrell, and can tie it together. I grew a new appreciation for Barbie after the Toys That Made Us episode of Barbie, where you just what a story that was.
Yep.
If you want to get hyped for Barbie the movie, go watch the Toys That Made Us on Netflix.
Yeah,
Watch
Netflix
them
Toys
all,
That Made
'cause
Us.
it's
Yeah, you should watch them all because they're really great.
just an incredible series, and I miss it so much.
Yep.
Next on the rundown, I know you haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse. So two questions for you. As the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse official trailer was released last week, and it was the biggest thing on the internet, even bigger than Barbie until Star Wars Celebration. But did you watch the trailer? Or let me ask, did you watch the trailer? And then why have you not watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
I have no idea. Well, we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
I'm not much of an animation person. Like I don't.
know.
I stopped watching. I stopped watching Saturday morning cartoons a long time ago. And and even the afternoon cartoons, I just don't watch them. I think the only cartoon that I've watched over the years as an adult is South Park,
Sure.
and Family Guy, but mainly because it was just
Adult humor.
It was adult humor, and stuff. And so I can't tell you why I haven't watched. Jackson loves it. He loves it. He was really excited to see the new trailer, and he's super excited for that to come out. I thought this trailer was cool. I liked. I don't know anything about Miles Morales, so I don't know. I guess they introduced Peter Parker there as he trained Miles, I guess, or whatever, and then you have like Gwen Stacy, I guess, is in there. Is that so? Which seemed weird because I thought Gwen Stacy was with Peter Parker, but maybe the MJ. So I don't know. But
That's
anyhow,
why you gotta watch. That's why you gotta watch.
Yeah. So and then they had the whole Spider-Verse place where there's just every conceivable multiverse Spider-Man is out there. Yeah.
I watched an Easter egg video, and I think a guy said 99.
Yeah.
Different Spideys. Oh my gosh.
So it looks cool. The animation style looks very neat. I liked that. I thought that was pretty cool. And then I thought, of course, the meme is out there, has been out there forever, where the Spider-Mans are pointing at each other.
I hope we're done with it after this, but I think it was. I like how they escalated it.
Yeah. So
Speaking
it went
of
well.
Animation. Every Spider-Man has their unique animation. So,
which I thought was neat. Like in the Spider-Verse, if they're talking about a Spider-Man version from much earlier in time, whatever he was drawn in, or that is how he's portrayed in this series, which I thought was neat. It's a nice homage to the original creators of those particular characters and stuff, and just it goes to show you how many versions of Spider-Man there are out there.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's pretty wild.
But Miles is he's got a really great story, and he's a really great kid.
Yeah.
It's a magical movie, and there's a lot of Peter Parker, and there's a lot of Peters in it. I should just say that.
Yeah.
You every Spider-Man fan loves this movie. And so it's a movie you got to watch. Go out there and check it out. If
Jackson tells me I need to watch it all the time, and I'm like, I don't know, man.
I don't know if truer words ever been said by Jackson, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, well, he's got some gems. He puts some gems out there from time to time. So
it'll more and more as he gets older too. Next on the rundown, we have big news out of Warner Brothers Discovery. It is official. Harry Potter reboot in the works. It will be a TV show where each season is a book. Take it away, Eric. You're the Harry Potter fan here.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Well,
bad idea.
The original game plan, at least from what I've read, and again, rumor central, rumor control here, was that Warner Brothers wanted a 9th movie. They wanted to do this Cursed Child movie, and so they asked the original cast, but they didn't want to do it without the original cast, and so they went to Rupert Grint, and he gave him 2 thumbs up and said, "You bet, I'm ready to go." And then they went to Emma Watson. Grint? He is
is he the redhead?
Yes, yep, he's Ron Weasley. Yeah. So then they went to Emma Watson and they went to Daniel Radcliffe, and they said, well, if J.K. Rowling is involved, we're not going to do it, because they have a political opinion that differs from her when it comes to feminism and transgenderism and stuff like that. J.K. Rowling's a vehement feminist, and she is not a big fan of the transgenders. So not as human beings, but I think as just, their political agendas and stuff she believes that I think they trample on women's rights and stuff. So anyhow, they said that they would not do it if she was involved. Well, she still owns all the rights to it. So she is involved in everything. And so Warner Brothers went back to the drawing board, and they finally came back to her and they're like, well, hey, how about we do a TV series? Would you be okay with that? Well, originally they came back and they were like, how much to buy you out? Like, how much to buy, write a number down and tell us how much to buy you out of Harry Potter altogether, and give us all the rights to it and let us do what we want to do. And from what I understand, she makes, I think, between $50 and $150 million a year just off of the residuals from the books, from
she's all the life.
Yeah, she is, and so,
not to mention all the money she's already made off of everything.
Right.
This is just residuals coming in.
Yeah. She's making a ton of cash. Right. Exactly. She's making a ton of cash. Well, she has no intentions of giving control up of her property. She doesn't want to. And so she stood her ground, and she wrote down an obscene, from what I understand, it was an obscene number. And Warner Brothers was like, all right, well, we're going back to the drawing board.
$1 million.
Yeah, right. Actually, $1 million is not really a lot of money. That's all right. So, I think if you even wrote down 1 billion, they would have felt like they were stealing it from her.
So you think about like George Lucas sold Star Wars for $4 billion. They made their money back in the first 5 years.
Yeah.
On that, Harry Potter's as profitable of a franchise as anything right now, even though nothing new has come. So so they've settled on a TV series, and my understanding is that like you said, it's going to be 1 season per be like a 10 episode season, focusing on each book as you kind of go through, which but Joe has maintained creative control. She will not be the showrunner, but she will maintain creative control over the entire production. So, did you call her Joe just now?
Yes. Sorry. Well, it's kind of like me and DJ, like. So,
no, it's exactly like that, Eric.
It is exactly like that. So you have like Joe over here, and then I'm like over here.
Okay.
Except like much further, just because the other stuff. Other parts that they had talked about was that Warner Brothers wanted to move it to the United States. They wanted it to either take place in, I think, Europe proper or in the United States. And Joe said, no, it's a British character, and it's going to stay British, which I thought was last. Like, you know what? Go. Yeah. I mean, so far, everything that I have heard out of this, I'm like, it's your stuff. Yeah. Make sure that it's done right. And I'm all for it. I think I'm excited for it. I really am excited. Stacey and I were talking about it. It is risky. But Stacey and I were talking about it, and I said, I've enjoyed Daniel Radcliffe's portrayal of Harry Potter, but he doesn't. If you read the books, he doesn't fit the character mold all that well. First, his hair, everything about his hair is all wrong.
It's got to be.
And same thing with Emma Watson. Like, Emma Watson is not Hermione Granger. And Rupert Grint is probably as close to Ron as you're going to get. He was actually pretty spot on there. So, but yeah, I think we're going to get a much closer to the book rendition of Harry Potter than we did in the movies, and we've talked about this. It's hard to tell a book in 2 hours, and they did a tremendous job with it, but it's going to be so much better as a series.
Yeah.
The only struggle is the kids. Like you're gonna have to film those kids. That's gonna be tough
That
to
is a
get
lot of
them.
work.
Yeah, because they're gonna grow up. They're gonna grow up as the show is going along. So you're gonna have them for 7 years and all that. So
that's a really good point, actually. Yeah.
it's gonna be tough.
Look at Stranger Things. Those kids are like adults now.
Yep.
All right. Well, from reboot to sequels, next on the rundown, Shrek 5 in the DreamWorks. No pun intended. No, but seriously, right. Question for you, Eric. Did you also not know there was a Shrek 4?
I did not. I don't think.
I knew that.
Which one? What's this? Yeah, I don't even remember because I remember the first one was with John Lithgow, and then
that was first one.
Yeah, that was this. Yeah, that was Lord Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad.
And then
must be compensating for something.
Yeah. The second one is that
was a terrible Scottish accent, by the way.
Yeah, it was, but that's all right. The second movie was the Fairy Godmother, right? That they they had to go to far away because they.
Oh, is that what it is? I feel like I just recently watched the first one with Joey.
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what.
But I don't. Yeah, I feel like there was a third one with Justin Timberlake where he was like Prince Charming, and then maybe there was a fourth one with him as well.
Yeah. So you had. So the second one was where they go to far away. That's where Fiona's parents were, and
right.
And then the third one is the one with kids. They have children together in the third one, and then that's it. For me, that's where the chain of custody ends, I guess, when it comes
the memory bands.
Yeah,
I guess.
But I'm sure the kids have watched it, and I just haven't seen it. So
I have no idea. I think Penny's like the first one.
But I mean, I've seen I've seen some of the spin-off stuff. Like I've enjoyed the I've enjoyed the Puss in Boots stories, the Gingerbread Men.
Okay. So Puss in Boots came in the third one then, or he came in the second one?
He was actually in the second one. Yeah, he showed up in the second one.
I was like, he's been in more than just that one. In the recent. I've heard that Puss in Boots movie is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm being serious. I've heard nothing but good things.
I don't disagree. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen it. So like I said, it's Shrek the Third, Shrek Forever After, I guess, is that one. What's that one about? That must be. Oh, okay. Yep. All right. I have seen that one. That's the one with the Pied Piper.
Oh,
Rumpelstiltskin is in that one, and
I didn't think I've seen that one.
I have seen that one. Yeah, I have seen that one. So.
What year did it release? Does it say?
That one is 2010.
Oh,
2010. Yeah.
But
you get all kinds of good Shrek stuff
in 2010, so I was probably like in the clouds for a while.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? To be completely honest, this was before you had children, and so you probably were not. Shrek was not high on your list of things to see.
I liked the first three. I saw the first three.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz,
geniuses,
just terrific. Mike Myers is just a terrific comedian, and just as one funny dude.
Yeah. So he really is. I'd love to see another Married to Axe Murder.
Right, for sure.
Redo that one. Well, let's move to the trailer train because I got a movie I just can't wait to talk to you about. Coming out on Apple Plus. I think probably top 3 favorite actor of mine of all time. Definitely portrays one of my 1A, 1B favorite characters of all time. Michael
Well,
J.
it is
Fox.
it is. Is it your favorite movie of all time?
Well, Back to the Future 1 is the only movie I consider to be a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back is my favorite movie of all time.
Got it. Okay.
And then Back to the Future is number 2. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Number two.
Speaking of, so Michael J. Fox is coming out on Apple Plus with a movie called Still, a Michael J. Fox movie. So I immediately, I saw this come out. I was like immediately watched it. And I got a little emotional because I really love this man. And he's a special person. Like,
yeah.
In so many ways, he's so talented. He's so charismatic. You know, he's one of the smallest guys in the room, but one of the biggest presence.
Oh, hands down. Yeah.
So what did you think about this trailer?
It got me a little choked up watching it. I watched it and I thought to myself, gosh, he is so good. You know, he's so good. And they showed a bunch of old stuff from him when he was, younger, and he was just, I mean, when you're younger like that, you're going to be more vibrant. You're going to be more vivacious or whatever. I mean, the dude was just all over the place, and he's like, and you talk about being charismatic. He won an award. I think it was probably his Emmy Award or something like that for probably Family Ties or whatever. He gets up there and he's like, I feel 4 feet tall, and I was like, man, that's just brilliant. And even at that age, he walked into a room and just dominated it. And to think that we almost didn't get him in the Marty McFly.
It wouldn't be what
role.
It is.
Yeah, it would not be what it was. They started filming Back to the Future with another person, and it just was not working. And then Michael J. Fox just stepped in and nailed it.
Michael J. Fox was their first choice. They wanted him. They couldn't get him.
Yeah. But Family Ties, because of Family Ties, he had other stuff, and he basically said, I can do this. I can do both these movies. I can do both these things at the same time. Yeah. And he did, he pulled it off. And, but then there's like Secret of My Success and, which was another just terrific movie that he did. What's the one he did? The doc, where he was a vet.
Oh, Doc Holliday.
Doc Hollywood.
Doc Hollywood.
Doc Hollywood. Yeah.
Doc Holliday. That's your intro. Doc Hollywood. That is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Oh, it's so good. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that one. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch.
I rewatched it a couple of years ago. Now I really want to just watch it right now. But that's a magical movie. That's one of those magical '90s movies.
The trailer is really good because it and I think I'm gonna learn. I know next to nothing. I actually know less than next to nothing about Parkinson's.
Right.
I know nothing about that disease. No. So I'm actually, I know this sounds terrible, but I'm actually excited to have Michael J. Fox talk about it. And I know I'm going to learn a lot. Yeah. Inform me about what that's like, and I thought Captain Dunsel had said something to us a while back about how we talk about our wives, in one of the comments. And I thought it was just a wonderful comment, and in the trailer, he mentions telling his wife, hey, I've got Parkinson's. And her response to him is like that's actually what choked me up the most, was like, to hear her, I just amazing, just amazing when people love each other, really, can just do amazing stuff. So I am in agreement with you. I cannot wait to see this movie. Yeah. It's streaming May 12th.
Yeah.
May 12th.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I love that part where he's like, when they ask him, he's like, I've never been still in my life.
Yeah. So, it's an interesting title selection. Yeah, I think obviously it's intentional, but
right. It's a little double entendre. Maybe not that. Yeah, no, double meaning, right?
Yeah.
So I just love that. If I could meet one actor in Hollywood, it would be Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
So, I will be watching this immediately when it's launched. So, and then the last trailer on the trailer train is, we got the
May 12th.
May 12th. It is May 12th. Yeah. Great. Okay. Put it on the calendar.
On Apple Plus.
There you go. Yeah. First official trailer. I think we've gotten a teaser trailer. And now we got an official trailer for Peter, Pan, and Wendy.
Yep.
Are we gonna
move on? Yeah, I don't even care. Okay. Like, it doesn't look good.
I don't see it. It's so dark. Like,
it's really dark.
This whole trend of dark in movies is just light your setup.
Yeah.
So,
or get somebody that can color correct properly. Like, I know that stuff is filmed in brighter and they've darkened it in post, but it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good.
Does not look good, and it's too bad because Jude Law, love Jude Law. We'll talk about Jude Law here in a bit.
Yep.
But that's it for the rundown. We're actually not going to have a Nerd Box tonight as we're combining two shows. That's okay. Let's move on to the Nerd Rundown presents Star Wars Celebration 2023. Star Wars has always been a really big. Star Wars Celebration's always been a big thing for us Coloradans because the first one ever was here in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
So love Star Wars Celebration. It's in Japan next year. Can you imagine?
Oh,
it was in London this year. It's in Japan next year. So little salute,
one of our friends is actually
to the samurai.
She flew to Japan this morning.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Dude, I'd love to go to Japan.
Me too. It's on my list of like top 5 places in the world to go. Well, probably top 3 places in the world to go. I've got right behind England, and then I'd like to go to France just to see like Normandy and and where the Battle of the Somme was fought in World War One. Really would like to get there.
Or Paris.
Paris.
I really want to see. I've been to Italy, but I've only been to Rome. What's the? Oh my gosh, podcast brain. It's like dream vacation. It's at the location.
Greece?
No, it's in Italy with the lake. James Bond filmed there.
I don't remember, but I have no idea. I can't think of it either. Yep.
Yeah, that's my dream.
Is it Switzerland?
No, it's.
You think it's Switzerland?
No, it's Lake something. It's obviously my most dreamed about vacation, as I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, clearly it's high on your list.
Anyway, Star Wars Celebration 2023. Quick follow-up note to something that we talked about a few weeks ago in celebration of Star Wars Celebration. Actually, I'm sorry. let me back that up. In honor of its 40th anniversary and Star Wars Celebration, Return of the Jedi is being re-released in theaters April 28th. Is when it will be out. I don't know how long it'll be out for, but probably once.
It's only out for like 4 days.
Oh, it's okay. So I was gonna say
it's only out for like a week. It's only coming out for a week. Yep. I think it's.
I was gonna say because Guardians of the Galaxy is coming out. The next week, and they don't want to cut into that. So.
Yeah, it's only out for a week.
May 5th it stops.
May 5th it stops.
May 4th.
Let me just.
Or May 4th. May the 4th be with you.
It is May 4th, I think. Just let me double check. But April 28th is the premiere, and then April 28th through May 4th, 2023 in the United States. If you're over in the UK listening to this show, it'll be April 28th through May 1st. So you have even less time to watch it.
You have less distance to travel in the UK.
Yeah, true.
Here in America, we're a lot bigger. No.
And I will put the poster.
Yes,
you guys will be seeing the poster that they did. They did this 40th anniversary poster that just
It's
I was like,
beautiful.
man, I want to go watch
own it.
Return of the Jedi right now.
It does make me want to watch Return of the Jedi. I mean, it's beautiful. Erik will put
gorgeous.
it up. It's I was just gonna say,
and I'll also put a link to the guy who does the posters. I'll put a link up to him. I can't. Matt Ferguson is his name. He's got a Twitter page that you should for sure go look at, and because he did one for Empire Strikes Back as well, and he's also done a lot of them.
I think he did every Star Wars one now.
Yeah.
Looking at that collage that he put
up, it's pretty terrific. Yep,
it's beautiful. So we wanted to follow up on that because when we first reported, we didn't have a release date. Now we do.
Yeah,
and if you get a chance, Star Wars in the theaters, you don't get to do that very often.
Absolutely, go see it on the big screen. I remember, it was one of my first memories as a child. I've talked about it before. My dad, like I said, my dad listens to the show, and I remember we went to the movie theater in Fairfax. It was, my mom, my dad, my brother. I don't know if my brother was with us. It was 83, so he would have been only 3 years old. So I don't think he came with us, but we had to stand in line outside to watch, to like wait for the movie theater to open so we could go see it. Oh my gosh. And I just remember that Rancor monster was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, that was so crazy. But the music, the music, the scene with the speeder bikes in the forest was, I just had never seen anything like that. It was so fast.
What's crazy about that is I remember, when you're like little and you go to like a family Easter party and it's like a big family get together and your kid running around and adults have something on the TV. I remember that speeder chase scene being on my grandpa's TV all the time at big family get-togethers. R.I.P. Grandpa Woods. But Return of the Jedi, when the special editions were released and re-released in theaters, Return of the Jedi, my dad took me to, was my first Star Wars movie in theaters. I had seen them all, but hadn't seen them in theaters. Yeah. And so when I finally got to that scene, I was like nostalgia overload as a kid, which was crazy. Yeah. But Star Wars in the theaters is pretty magical.
Yeah, go see it, April 28th. I'm going to drag the kids to it. I guarantee you. I'm going to drag the kids to see that one because it's their favorite of the trilogy as well because of the Ewoks, of course. Everybody loves the Ewoks.
That's a pretty common theme. I think growing up, Return of the Jedi was my favorite, and then as I got older and matured, I was like, my God, Empire Strikes Back is a freaking masterpiece.
Right.
All right. So with Star Wars Celebration, Lucasfilm is the big studio behind it, obviously. Under Lucasfilm is a couple other franchises, most
smaller
notably
properties. Yeah, smaller properties.
Most notably, Indiana Jones. And so this has been a movie that's had a lot of scrutiny so far. I want to say that I have been behind this movie 1,000% from the very beginning. And I'm like 2,000% after this trailer. But they released a trailer Friday morning to kick things off. And listen, I'll get your thoughts in a second.
Yeah.
I thought this trailer was perfect. It gave me...
You would.
I know, I've turned into like the guy who likes everything. It just means I'm happy all the time now, I guess. So I thought it was perfect. It gave me enough of the story beats, what's going on with Indy. It showed enough action for me. I thought the visual effects were great in it. I haven't seen the criticism of this trailer's special effects like I did the first one. So obviously with more time. All right, so you're not a fan of this trailer or this movie. So tell me what you think.
Well, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull really lurks really heavy in my memory.
Right here.
That is a horrible taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
The refrigerator, the swinging monkeys. I mean, just the whole opening sequence where it literally looks like a movie set. Like, come on, like, please, like, just, I don't know. Like, the creative choices were just really, really bad. Yeah. So, So, and I'm looking at this thinking, I don't know how they're going to do this, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong, but um, I just think Harrison Ford's past his freshness date, and this is just
It looks like it's
and
sprung in this one though.
well, but come on, it's a stunt guy, and everything is digitally done. Like over on his face, like it's just it now we're going to start getting into the deep fake type stuff, where it's just like or they de-age him, but they're not de-aging him. They have a stunt guy there and they've just digitally mapped his face over top of it. So
I think it looks good.
I don't know. Morgan's got a whole theory of some sort of time travel stuff. I don't know that I'm sold on the time travel portion. I think it may just be memories, or whatever, that flashbacks in time.
Yeah.
Which
got to catch up on what Indy's done over the years, and it'll be one of those things that it obviously ties into the story with this whole dial. Listen, the title is ridiculous,
lame,
and I hope that they're hindsight's 20/20 on that, but I'm really excited to see Mads Mikkelsen as a Nazi. I think he plays a fantastic villain. Phoebe Waller-Bridge looks like she's bringing her charisma. I honestly, the time travel thing I think is stupid. Because I think this is the studio. I've watched some reactions where people were like, I can see why people are thinking there's a time travel theory just by what they're saying, a Dial of Destiny. Yeah. I don't think that the studio would give it away like that. If there is time travel, maybe it's maybe it's like your thoughts or something. You just go, you think you're time traveling or something. I don't know. Well, I hope it's not. I hope there's no time travel. I don't think there is. I don't think there's enough evidence to go off of it.
Yeah, I think.
But James Mangold has never failed us.
If I have anything in the back of my mind that is making me think this maybe has a chance, is that James Mangold is the guy in charge of it.
He's a phenomenal director.
I know we've had discussions about some of the best superhero movies or whatever, but his Logan movie artistically is probably the best superhero movie out there. Just terrific. It's great drama. Even if you've never seen a superhero movie in your life, like, it is just great drama. It's two really great performances from Patrick Stewart and from the Wolverine himself, whatever his name is.
I just had it in my mind, and
Hugh Jackman. It's Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, even for an anti-Wolverine guy like myself, I love that movie. So and 3:10 to Yuma.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Oh, I forgot that he did 3:10 to Yuma. That is a really terrific one.
Yeah, and
if you've never watched that one, that's Christian Bale and who's the other guy in that one?
Christian Bale and Russell Crowe.
Anyhow, Russell Crowe. You're right. Yep. Yeah, really, really great movie.
Yeah, and
so I don't know. I like, and here's the thing: is like I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is, you talk about like one of the perfect movies. Yeah. Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the most perfect movies. Don't touch the special effects. Don't do anything to it, because I need it to be from the period that it was actually made. And it's fine. I don't care. I don't care that the special effects are not up to speed right now, because, I remember George Lucas made this big deal about the special effects for the special editions are so much better. It's light years better than what they were in the 70s and 80s when we made that. Well, you know what? Here we are 25 years later, and your special edition special effects are dog crap compared to what we've got out there. So now they look bad compared to what we see now in movies. So you should have just stayed with what was originally there and just kept it that way. And so I don't know. I want to like Indiana Jones, but I am going to go into this
with low
hating it.
expectations.
Yeah, with really, yeah, I want to hate this movie at this point.
Or
so if
maybe
if
you
they
could just
surprise me,
keep the expectations low. You don't have to bring the hate. Don't put the hate next to you. You know,
keeps me warm.
It does get pretty cold in movie theaters.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, I saw John Wick 4 recently, and that was the coldest I've ever been, theater or not. It's like
I'm gonna try to see that this week. I'm gonna try to get to a late.
You got
show
to, because we got to do a presents on it, or at least on John Wick. John Wick as a series.
That's
Real
a good
quick
idea.
note on James Mangold.
Yeah,
he's going to be a busy man. So James Gunn went out and hired him
immediately. I was going to say, he
got hired to direct the Swamp Thing movie that got announced this weekend.
Terrific.
And Star Wars was like, okay, why don't you make another Star Wars movie for us?
Yeah.
So 3 new Star Wars movies were announced this weekend at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
We have, let me take a step back.
I'm sorry.
Let me take a step back real quick. So one brilliant thing that they did, and Eric, you can throw this picture up on the screen, is they mapped out a timeline for the universe by time frames. Yeah. And it's on the new Jedi Order, I think, link. So there's different eras to this whole thing now. Okay. There's the Age of the Rebellion, the Rise of the Empire, Rise of the First Order. There's the New Republic, the Old Republic, the High Republic, Dawn of the Jedi. So that's the very beginning. So that's the movie he got hired for. He got hired to direct the first Jedi ever using the Force. It's the very beginning of the Force, and it's like 25,000 years in the past. Okay?
Which is what we've been asking for. It's a gigantic universe. It's
huge.
Can we ditch the Skywalkers already? Which I know we're going to get to here in a second, but like we don't. Like there are literally probably trillions of people that have lived in this universe for however long this thing's been.
Low ball number.
None of them have got a greater story than
Joe Bob
Dawn of the Jedi.
Planet of this. Yeah.
So Dawn of the Jedi. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I really am. Yeah.
He says it's going to be like a biblical epic, which, I mean, just give me more expansive Star Wars stuff. That sounds amazing. Another movie that was announced. So he's going to be a busy man, James Mangold, Swamp Thing, and Dawn of this first. It doesn't have a title yet. It's in the Dawn of the Jedi era.
I was going to say, it takes place in that era, the Dawn of the Jedi. Yeah.
And then there's the Old Republic, which is get me to the Old Republic, because those video games are awesome. They're not canon anymore, meaning that once Disney bought Star Wars, they took all the story that wasn't movies and trashed it so they would write their own. So we haven't seen anything from Disney's version of the Old Republic yet, but I'm sure that they have a framework to go off of.
Yeah, but that's not entirely holding true any longer. Let's just say that. So that was their game plan when they took over Star Wars. They scrapped all of the old canon stuff that wasn't movies, and they said none of that's canon anymore. None of that's ever happened. None of that stuff, because they fully expected that their 3 movies that they were going to make were going to be amazing, and everybody was going to be like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever." And it turns out they were, by the 3rd one, it was a train wreck, and
by the 3rd one.
Yeah.
It was a train wreck pretty early on.
No, you know what I mean, though. Yeah. I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. And then lo and behold, this little show called The Mandalorian comes along and basically is what has saved Star Wars. At least the first 2 seasons of this have saved Star Wars to where fans are like, hey, this is good. We can get behind this. And with one, I think we're going to talk about it a little bit later. There is a character that was in books that they scrapped. In fact, 2 characters, I think, if from watching what I saw earlier, there are 2 characters from that book that are going to pop up in an upcoming series. Yeah. So So I
I'm gonna
don't.
get to that.
I think what they're going to do is they're going to be like, okay, well, we do have some gold.
Yeah.
That was mined a long time ago that we can bring that stuff back. So you may get your wish in that the old Republic stuff that was canon a long time ago will come back and
it'll be updated a little bit. And I'm going to come back to this. Let's get a pin in that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I'll go to the Rey Skywalker movie announced next.
Yeah, your radio is working. It's not.
We took a moment of silence there.
You could see our faces. Hopefully, you're watching on YouTube. But if you could see people's faces on the radio right now when we talk about Rey Palpatine. I mean Skywalker.
Man, okay. I almost just want to say, go watch the Drinker's video on this because I can't put it any better than he puts it.
Yes.
But the basic point is, okay, so they announced a Rey Skywalker movie. It's going to take place 15 years in the future. And she's going to be building the new Jedi Order, which is what from the picture we put up earlier, the era that this movie will take place in.
Yeah.
And so it'll be Rey Skywalker, and it says already that she's going to be a masterful Jedi, very powerful, masterful Jedi.
You like came out of the womb as a masterful Jedi.
Oh man, the Drinker's comment about how much he's when he says like she's as much of a Skywalker as I am something. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I laughed out loud.
The Critical Drinker. If you don't watch any of his stuff, you certainly should because he is a treasure.
He's
a Scottish
honest.
Treasure.
Yeah, he's Scottish. And he's honest.
And anyway, usually pretty spot on too.
so his point is that we're not. No one's asked. Not a lot of people are asking for there to be any more Rey Skywalker.
Right. And not because Daisy Ridley's like.
I think Daisy Ridley is amazing in the role. She's
great.
It's just the overall story that she was a part of.
The writing and the creative team, the production team, specifically the producer of the whole thing is pouring herself into that character.
He tears her apart in that video.
Well, and she deserves it.
So there's that. So what that also does is it for sure canonizes the sequel trilogy. And so what they're not going to be doing is they're not going to Kelvin timeline this thing into a different timeline. And Mando, so the man who saved the character who saved Star Wars, he had a big helping hand of Grogu in that. So all these shows that we're about to talk about will all culminate in a movie that is going to feature one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time, the heir to the Empire, Grand Admiral Thrawn, one of the greatest villains of all time,
which came from a book series.
Came from what is now called the Legends stories. Yeah. But he was too good not to have in Star Wars, so they found a way to bring him back. They brought him back in the TV show Rebels, which we'll also talk a lot about more here in a second. Yeah. Which was an animated show. So if you want to get an introduction to him, that would be there. But I guarantee what they'll do with these shows is they will, for people who don't want to go back and watch all of Rebels, they will make it easy for you to know who Thrawn is right off the bat when he debuts in a different show coming up. I'm going to talk about that. So they will all culminate into and team up against Thrawn, and that that takes place in the New Republic era. Yeah. So that's the era that we're in currently with Mandalorian.
Really? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the Rise of the First Order then is.
Yeah. Rise of the First. So Force Awakens takes place 40 years after Return of the Jedi. In that 40-year gap is the New Republic. Yeah.
Okay.
We're only like 12 years removed from Return of the Jedi in Mandalorian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question.
Well, I'm hoping that you get in the other. I saw the trailer because there's really two big characters that take place in the book. If you want to read if you want to read Star Wars fan stuff, you've never, I shouldn't say fan stuff, but like Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
If you're a reader, that Timothy Zahn series is really terrific. It's 3 books, and man, I will tell you that you will not put it down. Like you will read those as fast as you possibly can because they just are so good. And the 2 main characters from that are that come out of that the best, I think, are Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and then you also get a person called Mara Jade, or she's also referred to as the Emperor's Hand. Well, I think that we've seen her in the trailer for Ahsoka.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I could be wrong, but I
put a pin in that. We're going to get to that in a second.
Yep.
So, okay, so these are the 3 movies that are announced.
Yep.
Very excited about Dawn of the Jedi.
Yep.
I'm excited to see with this Mandalorian air. Obviously more Thrawn, but I'm excited to see how Mandalorian and Ahsoka and all these other shows we're going to talk about, how they're going to Avenger it and bring them all together. Right. Dave Filoni is the guy who's been behind the Clone Wars TV show, the Rebels TV show, and he and Jon Favreau create and produce and write the Mandalorian. He also did Boba Fett, which wasn't the greatest. So I get it. But it is, he has proven himself within the Star Wars universe to be a very capable person to handle. He was George Lucas's apprentice. And
he's not going to Rian Johnson it. No. Let's just say that. He's not going to Rian Johnson it.
Perfect way of putting it. He's gonna he's the reason why we're getting all this extended universe legend stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy about that. And then Sharmeen Obaid, I forget her whole name, will be directing the Rey Skywalker movie. Never heard of her. Don't know what she's directed. She seems really excited about it though. So good for her.
Good for her. Good luck.
Good luck. So the other big trailer we got from Star Wars Celebration was the Ahsoka trailer. So we know Ahsoka from, well, most everybody knows outside. If you're just like a general audience member, you know Ahsoka from Mandalorian season 2. Yep. She was the badass Jedi with the white lightsabers. But if
takes down Michael Biehn, doesn't she? Michael Biehn.
No, Mando takes down Michael Biehn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In the Western duel.
Yeah.
So Ahsoka though.
But that's the same episode, right?
Yeah, that is the same episode.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Michael Bihn's the ladies, like the martial artist. Anyway.
Yep.
So Ahsoka really gained popularity from where she debuted in the Clone Wars animated show, and she was really one of the more annoying characters in the beginning. But as her character matured, she really grew a huge audience. And when I say there's different factions of Star Wars fans, there's a faction of the Clone Wars, or there's a faction of fans that are Clone Wars fans, and that's their first introduction into Star Wars,
right?
Which I get because, depending on when you're born, you're going to be introduced to certain things in Star Wars, and that will be your first love in Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for instance, Meg loves the last trilogy.
I'm not saying you can't like other pieces of Star Wars. It was just whatever you see first will be
Meg likes the last trilogy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be putting up a face palm picture, I'm sure, up in the edit on this one where it's just come on.
I don't know if you should use the Captain Picard one, though.
I don't know, I probably won't. I can't cross the streams.
Yeah, don't cross the streams. So Ahsoka though is, really just cemented her popularity among the Star Wars fan base in the TV show Rebels. And this show looks like it's bringing every character from that show into live action, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And one of those characters is a character we've been talking about, Grand Admiral Thrawn. In the animated show, he's voiced by really great actor by the name of Lars Mikkelsen. We've already talked about his brother recently, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes.
Has an incredible voice. Really makes Thrawn sound intelligent, which he is, but menacing as well. So really cool to see that confirmed that he's coming back for the character to voice him in live action as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a big cast. So it's a big cast of the Rebels characters that we saw in Rebels. So you have Heir Syndulla, which is, she plays a green Twi'lek. That's the green skin. I don't know what you would call those things, what are these things that come down? Pigtails, basically. She's playing Mary Elizabeth Winstead's been in a lot of nerd stuff, playing Heir Syndulla. I don't remember the actress that's playing Sabine Wren, but she's a Mandalorian and has close ties with Katie Sackhoff's Bo-Katan, who's having a big season in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Zeb, he actually had his live action debut already in Mandalorian this season. No, that's not a big spoiler. Sorry if that is a spoiler, but it's not a huge one. He's just a cameo. And then there's one more. Oh, and Ezra Bridger is a Jedi. He's the one that kind of won the day, I guess, in Rebels, where he and Thrawn, he had the those like time traveling octopuses. That's just, can't believe that came out of my mouth. It's true though. Or they're whales.
Well,
I think they're whales. Maybe they're whales, not octopuses.
I think we've all seen the Suicide Squad, so it can't be more absurd than that one. So.
It's not. It's definitely not. That is as absurd as it can get almost. So anyway, it's really cool to see these animated characters come to life. I love it, and it's a continuation story. So they're on the search for Ezra Bridger, who, with these time traveling whales, I think they are octopuses, entrapped Grand Admiral Thrawn, and that was the last they saw of Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn. And that's why in the teaser, or excuse me, in the Mando episode that Ahsoka's in, she's like, he's returned. He's come back from somewhere. And he's building an army, and it's all going to culminate in a movie. So, I know you haven't seen Clone Wars or Rebels, but you saw Mandalorian. Rosario Dawson is just fantastic in the role. What did you think of the trailer? Exceptionally
charming. Loved it. The nice thing about her introduction into the Mandalorian was that she needed really no introduction. You didn't need to know her backstory to appreciate what she was doing. She just dropped in there and was like, "Hey, look, I'm who I'm looking for. You know what I need." And she was great. She's, and that's really how you develop a character. Like there's no, she comes onto the screen and shows you what she can do, what she's all about, and you're like, awesome. I'm on board. And it's not like she just learned it yesterday. She's clearly she's been around a long time. So I and her reference to Thrawn I thought was terrific, because again, tying into that older series and mining
you immediately
what
knew
is
what she's
already
talking about.
Mining that already successful properties is where you need to go. My hope, again, I kind of alluded to it earlier, was that I am hoping beyond hope that we get Mara Jade in this at some
Yeah.
point. I think that would be really terrific, but we'll see what happens. So Mara Jade is another character that was introduced with the Grand Admiral Thrawn in that series, and her old job was what she was called the Emperor's Hand.
Yeah,
and so she went on special operations missions to solve problems that came up in the only way an evil Jedi can do, I guess, or whatever. But she eventually turns and helps the Jedi, later on. So anyhow, I'm hoping,
and she marries Luke.
And well,
big thing.
I wasn't gonna give that away, but yes, she does.
No spoilers.
So,
just joking.
But we can't have that happen because apparently
that's the part of that's part of that the legends that they earhold for sure.
Yep. So.
The trailer is, great action. It looks so clean.
It does look really clean. Special effects look really like dialed in.
Like
there's no heads that are floating in the air, a la Indiana Jones style. But
so it looks good. One thing you have to know about Ahsoka is she left the Jedi Order like before it all went to shit with Order 66, and so she's been around a long time, and she's still confirmed to be alive in Episode 9, I think it was. So, and she's a great hero, and she's really cemented herself among the Star Wars elites, and I think they're looking
surviving Jedi.
Yeah. Well, I just mean like in the Star Wars lore, like she's got a huge fan base. So
yeah.
And when you have somebody like Rosario Dawson who can just step into that role, who, it was really owned by Ashley Eckstein at first. We've kind of had this debate recently with The Last of Us with Ashley Johnson voicing the character and how it's really was her role, and nobody could ever see anybody else in the role. But then Bella Ramsey comes along and does an incredible job on her own, right? That's Rosario Dawson did that first,
Yeah.
She had a big, she had big shoes to fill, and she stepped on screen, and you immediately forget about I don't mean this like menacingly, but you immediately forget about Ashley Eckstein's character or her voice. So Rosario Dawson's big. Ray Stevenson. So the trailer features 2 Jedi with orange lightsabers, or I should say 2 Sith. They're not Inquisitors, because by this time Inquisitors are gone. They don't have a red lightsaber, but they are definitely not good people.
Are they a dark Jedi, maybe or
dark Jedi? Yeah, maybe they go down that road. At this point in time, there's not any kind of Jedi Order, so it's really Ray Stevenson is a badass in every role he is in. He looks like a badass in this one. But the new blondie there, I forget her name. She's gonna I can't remember, but she looks pretty menacing in this. Like she's got this like look on her face of intensity. Yeah. So Ahsoka's gonna have a lot to go up against.
So do you think the Inquisitors, just kind of dive in a little bit to get pretty nerdy?
Yeah.
Do you think that the Inquisitors just stop being Inquisitors after the Empire falls apart, or
I think they all die? Actually,
or do they still? I mean, because that sword kind of feels like maybe. Well, that's what they said about all the Jedi after Order 66 was they were all gone too. So. I wonder if maybe this is an Inquisitor that
there is an Inquisitor looking character at the very end who she's like battling in a shipyard.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing. She's got
but that's not Ray Stevenson or that blondie, because he has an Inquisitor lightsaber. Actually, now that you say that, I remember at the thing. So maybe they're not all dead.
It's a double-bladed spinning one. So so I don't know, we'll see what happens.
They like watch the replay of the Death Star blowing up. They're like, do we still have to follow Vader now?
Yeah, right. So Do you know how
Were you
many
unemployed?
construction workers were killed in that? Like, guys just trying to make a living, and
That's a good bit. Anyway, this is gonna be a good show. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's coming out later this year in August on Disney Plus. And then of course that they are going after Grand Admiral Thrawn in that with those two bad Jedis. So big time story there. Big time villains. Big time villains. Next on in the Star Wars Celebration rundown that we're doing here, the cloak of mystery around the acolyte has been lifted, and we get our first major details about the show, which is taking place in the High Republic era, which is about 500 years before. It's about 200 to 800 years before the Phantom Menace. So Yoda's around, by the way.
Yeah.
And could feature in this movie. So, but it's the director pitched her pitch to Lucasfilm was Frozen meets Kill Bill. I don't know how that is going to play out quite yet, but what it tells me, there's going to be some sisters who want to get revenge. Does that sound like something that interests you in the Star Wars TV series?
Well, they build it as like kind of a mystery thriller, like it's again, I'm not saying that I'm like excited about this idea because I haven't seen anything about it, I do think this is a very cool point in history for them to be going back into for us to watch and kind of check out. I do like that. I think
it's like the rise of the Sith. Is what
this is not the it's not the Skywalkers. It's not anything that I know anything about. So, or for the most part, any of us know anything about. We're going to get to see.
It could involve Palpatine though. If it's about 200 years before Phantom Menace, there's a chance that I think it could. I don't know. I don't remember how old he is.
Yeah,
but he would be the only one from that whole era that would. Obviously Yoda, but
so this would be before. So you don't think this would be Darth Sidious? Then this would be.
I actually think that this is what's Palpatine's mentor or his. Remember, he's at the opera talking to Anakin, and he's talking about this.
Darth Plagueis
the Wise. I think that this is who that is going to be,
and very well could be, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Again, there are so many stories in this galaxy, in this universe that they could pursue. And this is cool because it's like, hey, this is the height of, I wouldn't say the height of Jedi arrogance, but maybe it is. Maybe it is the height of Jedi arrogance. And
the Republic.
Yeah. Well, I think probably the height is right before Emperor Palpatine.
Well, it's called the High Republic era.
Yeah.
And they say this is when the universe was the galaxy was the most prosperous.
Yeah.
And the Jedi were at their height of power.
Yeah.
Maybe this is also how we see people become disillusioned in the Jedi Order, and that's when they turn to the dark side. Because it's going to be a very Sith-y show.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be.
Which I'm excited. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. I really am cool with it. I think as long as it's a compelling and cool story, I'm good. I'm good with that. And it doesn't have a Skywalker in it, so thank the Lord.
Yeah,
at least I don't think so. Maybe there is one, and they're gonna be like, "This is Luke Skywalker's great grandfather and grandmother."
The good thing about the way they did the Skywalkers is there's nothing before Anakin. It's not like we can be like, "Oh, this is Luke's grandfather." Right. One big thing about this show is it's going to have a very heavy martial arts influence. Classic martial arts like
Daphne Keen.
I forget the what's the famous samurai director's name? I can't remember. Either way, it's going to have a lot of martial arts in it. Can't wait for that.
Yeah. Well, they're saying so. The splash here that I'm reading is the Acolyte will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but discovers the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever expected.
Darth Vegas.
I like it.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I saw anything I didn't like on this whole Star Wars Celebration rollout of details and news. So the next one, we have basically
Except
only
for the Rey movie.
The balance of good versus suck, I think is a good. It's in favor of the good.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna get Star Wars till the day you die, like it or not.
I know. They could slow it down a little.
Yeah.
The Skeleton Crew next up. This is a TV show we knew nothing about. The only thing we knew was that Jude Law was in it, and that it was going to be a younger kid story. So some of the stuff that came out during Star Wars Celebration this weekend about this was it's going to take place during the Mandalorian time frame.
Right.
Jude Law is a Jedi, so that's badass.
Yep.
It's got a very heavy Amblin influence, so like E.T., Goonies, like the Most Perfect Kid movies. So I like that, as it's going to be Jude Law as a Jedi, hoarding around kids. I don't know what they do. We don't know what they do. But there was a big time list of directors that came out on it. I don't pull it up. I was going to get to as I scroll past it real quick.
Well, what they said is the Skeleton Crew follows the journey of 4 kids who make a mysterious discovery on their seemingly safe home planet, then get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy, finding their way home and meeting unlikely allies and enemies. Will be a greater adventure than they ever imagined. So that's the pitch on that one.
I that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah.
I have it somewhere, the director list, but I know the Daniels, who just won Best Director, the duo won Best Director at the Oscars for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
They were some of them. I can't find my. Where's my? Oh, here we go. There we go. I found it. No, this is an old one. Why am I? Dang, I've got some tabs to close over here. There we go.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. The fact that it takes place during at the time of the Mandalorian, I think, is nice, because then they can tie that stuff all together. Because that's their plan, is that basically Boba Fett is taking place at the time of the Mandalorian. This is taking place at the time of the Mandalorian, and then you have the Mandalorian, and so all of these characters will then eventually, and Ahsoka is happening at the same time. You know, all of these characters will funnel into some choke point at some point. I guess where maybe we have the big standoff between Thrawn.
Yeah, that's the Dave Filoni movie. Gosh, I hope they call that movie Heir to the Empire. So here's the list of directors real quick. Tundi Adebimpe, I probably butchered that, but he's directed a couple episodes of The Mandalorian, really good ones. John Watts. So actually this whole thing came from John Watts pitching it to Jon Favreau when they were filming Spider-Man No Way Home. So
interesting.
So Favreau, who plays Happy Hogan in that movie, was like, okay, I'm going to bring this back to Kathleen. The Daniels, Bryce Dallas Howard, who, she directs an episode of The Mandalorian each season and some really good ones too. This last one she directed needs to be ear hold as well. But either way, she's done some really good work. So David Lowery, Christopher Ford, some big time director names for this show. It shows that they're getting some. I think that shows that they want to invest in the show and put the right people in place, because they have something special and they need good people to guide it there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. All right.
Yeah, it'd be good.
You know, though, one show that will not tie into the Dave Filoni movie that is getting its second season that's in the middle of shooting right now is the follow-up season to what I believe is some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen, in Andor. So
right up there.
Big time panel. I'm surprised it was as big of a panel. They had a trailer that they showed for the people in attendance. They didn't release anything.
Yeah.
But they started filming it in November, season 2 of Andor, and they'll finish in August. And then Tony Gilroy, the writer and creator and director, said they'll have about a year of post-production, so they'll release in August of 2024 season 2 of Andor, which that's so far away, but I love that they are taking their time on it. And you know what? There's one kind of off-topic point about this that just reminded me is, you know, we've gotten some really okay stuff in the last few years, and some of that stuff, you know, was really hampered by the era that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're out of that era, you can tell studios are taking their time a little bit more. They're, you know, delaying stuff so they can take more time with it. So I'm really glad to hear that. While yes, I would love it yesterday.
Yeah,
it's going to come out in August of 2024 with a year of post-production.
Right.
And it will end right as Rogue One picks up, which I think is a really cool tie-in. So
it's only going to be 2 seasons. That's it. That's Andor is only going to be 2. All right.
Only going to be 2 seasons. They had originally 5 seasons, but I think they, you know, I don't think that would be, I don't know. If they gave me 5 seasons like season 1, I would be down for that. But I like, you know, we talk about this all the time. Tell the story that you need to tell. And Tony Gilroy is a masterful storyteller. So I have faith if he thinks that this is going to be good for 2 seasons, then bada bing, bada boom.
Well, I tend to agree with you when it comes to your assessment of Andor being the best Star Wars we've seen. You know,
not a high bar, but I mean, still you have Mando in there.
Well, let's just talk small screen. It's hands down. I think it's better than even The Mandalorian. I really do. You know, I mean, granted, we only got 1 season of it. We've gotten 2 seasons of, well, we're
and Mando had the most magical moment on TV of all time, but I would say as a whole.
Yeah. Well, and again, you're bringing back nostalgia to set that up, you know, to set that specific scene up, if you will. Whereas Andor doesn't have any of that. This is a character we already know the fate of, you know, but it's actually a very interesting and very cool way to see how all of it gets started, you know, because again, I think talking about the critical drinker earlier, you know, like, why would we care about this character? Well, in the season in season 1 of Andor, you find out why you care about this character. Like, I know this guy's dead. Well, frankly, everybody dies, you know, so everybody, you know, what doesn't mean it doesn't mean they didn't lead an interesting life and you could tell stories from that life.
Right.
And I think that's the cool thing about Andor is it takes place over a course of years. You know, it doesn't just one day become this person. It's a slow burn that gets him there and gets a lot of people there, you know, and I think you see that with a lot of stuff where it's just like, you know, people are just kind of fed up and you know, the Empire may seem like it's invincible, but it's not. And, you know, the whole monologue by, what's his name? Stellan Skarsgård, you know, about the sacrifices that he's made, you know, it's just one of the best monologues I've heard in a long time. And it's just terrific, man. It really is. And it's cool because you get insight into what the Empire is like.
Yeah.
Like, this is the fully functioning this is not Emperor. This is not Darth Vader. This is like the bureaucracy that is, and how they maintain control of the, you know, of the star systems, and how they, can pursue people, because you think, oh, well, it's just huge. There's ships coming off planets over there. Not true, man. Yeah, they've all got transponders, and you gotta, and so
I
it's
love
just
that
really
everyday
cool.
stuff getting thrown in there.
Yeah. So, really, really cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to Andor season 2 for sure. And this gives Morgan, plenty of time. We're looking at least 12, because we're saying August. So we're in
24.
April now, May, June, July, August.
Months.
So that's 4. So he's got 16 months to finish the season. So even if he averages, little over one episode per month, he'll finish with plenty of time.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe he hasn't done it yet. Honestly, I can't believe it. No, that show, it's got a slow start to it.
Sure.
But once you're here's why you care about Andor, is because they also put these other characters that you care about next to him. And then you're like, that's where the suspense comes from. Where you're like, shit, I don't want this character to go. Like, I want more of that character. So, and there is a lot of great characters. I mean, there's one of the best droid, if not the best droid, or at least my favorite droid.
He is really great.
Oh man, he's great. So I cannot wait for more Andor. Actually, I'm glad that they had this panel and we got a little bit from it, because it kind of whet my appetite for some Andor. And now I know how long I have to wait, Yeah. Oh, and here's a detail that came out. So they said he is no longer wavering as to his commitment to the rebellion. Yeah. So we don't have to worry about going into season 2 as, maybe I'm not a rebel. Right. Well, we know you end up being one, so just get there already, and he's there. So
I think you're going to see the actual execution of the rebellion plan. You're going to start seeing Skarsgård. You're going to start seeing Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
And then of course Andor is going to be your boots on the ground guy that's committed to it.
Yeah.
It's committed to the cause. So, and I imagine probably additional people that will come in and out that'll be used.
And we have to get to K2SO. We're going to get him in season 2. So he has a great relationship with Andor.
That's voiced by
Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, our favorite.
One of our favorites for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is Star Wars Celebration 2023. There was a couple other things. So one thing that got released yesterday, well, not released, they showed it to fans in attendance, was an extended Ahsoka trailer, and they did show Thrawn's face, because the Ahsoka trailer did not show it; just showed him from behind. But you could tell he had the blue skin. But in the extended trailer that they showed yesterday, they showed him, and people are saying he looks fantastic. So
I bet
it's a character that, if you think about him in live action, it could come off as silly. So to hear that it looks fantastic, I'm very, very excited about Thrawn. I think that could. It's almost like, do you have to announce stuff after Thrawn? Can you just? I mean, we could do so much more with Thrawn. So we'll see. I don't know. Very excited about a lot of this stuff, though. Ahsoka looks clean. Very, very excited for that.
Yeah.
And Mando, a lot of the negative buzz that it's gotten this season, it has been around like the direction of the show. And the first 2 seasons you had Mando on the quest to get Grogu back to his people.
Yeah.
And once that was completed, and then it was undone in a different show.
Yep.
You get back to this show, and people are complaining that there's no direction, but they are definitely setting it up, and they are expanding the Mandalorian universe. They're expanding. I mean, Mandalorian is become a title that is just like, it's not just Din Djarin. This is going to be about a lot of Mandalorians, and they're bringing the Mandalorian. This is a race of beings that used to be one of the biggest and most important races in the galaxy. And so they're bringing them back to prominence, kind of like my buffs return to prominence. So listen, this was a big show, 2-year anniversary for us, Erik.
Yeah.
Love that it was just the two of us tonight. Love you, Morgan. Love you, everybody else. Kind of glad it got to be us here on the 2-year anniversary.
For sure. 2 years, man. 2 years. Thank you very much, as always. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Seriously. This last 2 years has been amazing. And I love that you were right there with me every step of the way.
Same, brother.
Even more steps, since the work that you put in on this show is amazing.
We were, I was at a work function last week, and we were having dinner, and one of the guys that's there, he listens to the show every once in a while, and so his boss was like, "Oh, you're the one with the podcast," and I was like, "Yeah, I have a podcast." He's like, "How are you guys doing?" I said, "We're doing all right. We've got good YouTube following. We've got good audio podcast only following and stuff." And I said, but I'm grateful to everybody who listens to the show. It's fantastic. I love that people listen to it. I love that people enjoy it. I said, but honestly, if it was just Darren and I, talking to each other and recording it, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah,
I just love talking about this type of stuff with you, and I enjoy it. And then of course with Morgan and Meg and everybody else, that we've had on the show, love talking about those things, love sharing my passion for those things and all that. I don't necessarily like everything that comes out, but
I don't have to,
good time.
I think it's good that we don't. But we like the rundown to be kind of our place where we can have differing opinions, and we get excited about this stuff, but sometimes it's not always great. And I think that, that's just truthful.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm tired. I feel like that made more sense in my head.
Yeah.
But we are here to do more. Okay. And, if you're missing Meg, summer's coming up soon. She'll be on the show a lot more during the summer. Morgan, out a little sick again tonight. Hope he feels better, but we'll get some more differing opinions on the show soon. So, but right now,
take your kids to see Mario.
I'm going this weekend.
Man, take them to see Mario.
I can't wait.
It's terrific. It's really terrific.
I cannot wait. And don't take your kids to see John Wick.
Yeah.
There is a lot of death in that movie.
I think Morgan said that he watched Dungeons and Dragons, right? And
he liked it.
And he took his son with
Carson.
him too, didn't he? Yeah, I was going to say.
Sure he did.
Yeah,
he's just going to take him to the Batman. He's going to take.
He took him to the Batman. Yeah. So, and he said it was good. Yeah. So Dungeons and Dragons. If you're looking for a movie right now, there's a lot of really good stuff out.
Yeah. And even stuff coming out on stream, like Shazam 2's coming out on streaming soon.
Yep, Shazam 2 will be out. I think Cocaine Bear's getting ready to come out on streaming
Bear's
too.
Coming ready. I can't wait to watch that.
If you're an Adam Sandler fan, the second murder mystery movie is actually pretty good. It just set a record for, I think, the biggest debut on Netflix that they had. It's either the number 1 or number 2. So
Ghosted with my man Chris Evans and my lady Ana de Armas and an Apple Plus movie. So a lot of content out there. Yeah. We'll try to bring you as much review and recapping and reactioning and all the stuff to it as we possibly can.
For sure.
Sometimes we just get to the rundown. We're like, that all is going to be good. Sometimes we get there and we're like, we'll wait till next week for some good stuff. So
yeah. Yeah. I think the only other thing that I'd like to hear from people, if you're still hanging in there in the show at this point, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but
good point.
Let us know in the comments about stuff that you'd like to see for the show. Would you be interested in seeing a review show or an interview show with people, bringing people on all the different walks of life, talking about the different stuff that they're nerdy about. So
yeah. And if that is something you want, that is easy for us to execute, we will get on that ASAP. That is something we can do anytime. And I used to want to be a journalist, so I've got a little interview experience.
Yeah.
I was on the newspaper for a semester until I got fired. But another time. I
always did. In high school, I was on the TV show. We had a TV channel. We started it like
I can see
they didn't have one before, but they started it, and I started off in the director's chair. I directed the show for the first year.
Awesome. And
then the next year I was like, I kind of want to be in front of the camera now. And so I switched to in front of the camera. That was a lot of fun. So.
Well, this is a lot of fun, and I appreciate you being on here with me again. Happy anniversary. Thank you to all the nerds out there. Visit combatthechaos.com. You can find these awesome hats that we have. They got some really great apparel, and it all goes to a good cause. Well, the profits go to a good cause. So
they do.
Us vets, we need all the help we can get, dude. Help us out.
Absolutely, yeah.
Man. Well, with that being said, we'll see you all next week on the Nerd Rundown.
See ya. Bye.